Hi, welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Oak empath, and I just like doing these little talks on the way I feel about things. And these are just the way I feel about things, and I'm just a person who was born on a day at a time, and I believe that based on that day at a time, there's a map laid out of who we are and the potential of who we can be. And Stanley's here today. And that potential is really playing out in an extraordinary way, and on the main stage, on the world stage today. Because we're all actors playing a role, and well, I'd like to think that I can be an actor, but I speak truth more than not. I used to have trouble with actors when I was a kid. I'd be like, so let me get this straight. They're kissing people and they're not married to them, and they get paid for it, but they're not married. But they act like they're married, but they're not. All this stuff like really confused me as a kid. But they're not married. They're not supposed to be kissing people unless they're married. He's sitting up and he's resting his head on my shoulder. He's such a good cat. I don't understand why people would be like, I don't like cats. It's like saying, I don't like love. So, I can understand, really. When I say I don't understand, usually I can, because I have a really big imagination, and I've had a lot of life experience, and it's brought me a lot of understanding. I can understand a lot. So, I just look at all these little tidbits is insight. I believe animals read who we are, and they actually know and feel who we are, and so when people don't like them, they don't want people to know who they really are. Yeah, I think there's a lot to that. See, I think there's a lot more to stuff than people actually say. Like when they're afraid of the dark. I don't think people are afraid of the dark. The dark isn't scary. Now something coming out of the dark and grabbing you and causing harm to you. Now, I'm afraid of stuff in the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. Just stuff like that. People aren't so clear with how they speak. There's a lot of misunderstandings that come up, huh, Stanley? What do you think you see, Stanley? What do you think you see, Stanley? What do you think you see? No, he sees stuff I don't see. His eyes are different, and I always thought that was silly. People are like, dogs and cats see like this. I'm like, what, you been a cat, a dog today? How do you know? Because they do weird stuff, huh? They do weird tests and stuff like that, and then they guess, and then they tell you it's real, and then they tell you and then you pay them a lot of money to tell you it's real, and stuff is not. So, what was I thinking about this morning? Oh, Scorpio season, how people are coming into their true essence of who they are, and just focus on the positive, because a lot of people are coming into their realization that they don't want to be scoundrels, and they're trying to live a better way, Every day that old paradigm is dying away. Another one left today. Yesterday, that dude, I don't even know their names, because they're not even real people to me, just like I'm not a real person to them, But it doesn't mean I wouldn't try. It doesn't mean I wouldn't sit in Congress and tell them what I think, in a respectful way. Tell them what I think about how they should take pay cuts, and, why do they get to deserve it so much when the people that they're supposed to be representing and get so little. I saw a funny meme this morning about, since the guy's been in office, 5 million jobs have been created, and the lady behind the register is saying, yeah, and I got 3 of them and I still can't make rent, There's too many of those and not enough of the other, And it's not what I'm focusing on, because I look at everything. I'm pretty diligent about that. I'm pretty balanced and even keel as far as that's concerned. So Scorpio season's coming around, and people are just really, and it's starting to get colder and shift, and the storms are coming, and that freaking creates all kinds of freaking energy in you. And if you're worried about stuff and if you don't have faith, that can create anxiousness, you know. And if you're not, then that can create excitement. It's just how you look at the vibrations, how you're interpreting the vibrations, you know. The energy potential, the emotions, you know. I believe emotions are tied to frequencies. That's why, you know, you hear certain low notes in songs, you know, puts you in a vibrational frequency, and it just pulls on those emotional heartstrings, and it puts you in a place of or of things how they were or how you want them to be. You alright, Artie Pants? You stuck? He gets hot. Good boy. And he lays down outside of the blanket. We're all just patterns, you know. We're all patterns. You know, even the pattern, and there's so much consistency in the patterns. Even if that pattern is inconsistency, you know. And I have a mind that sees patterns in everything, and it's just something I've come to terms with. I don't look at it as some days it's a good thing, some days it's a bad thing, you know, because sometimes I don't want to see things how they actually are. I want to see them for all the goodness that I want them to be, and not all things are all goodness, you know. Not all things are all bad, I don't think. I don't know, maybe they are. I hope I don't ever come across that, you know. But as part of my path is I see good in everybody, and that's what I lock in on and focus in on. And sometimes their darkness comes around, sneaks up behind me and smacks me upside the head, you know. But that's because I'm not listening to myself about something. I'm not paying attention about something, you know. We're stepping into a world that, you know, next year's 2020. We're stepping into the year of clear vision and vigilance, you know, and to see clearly. You don't just see, you know, you're feeling, you're smelling, you're tasting, it's a full spectrum experience, you know, and people haven't been relying on these senses. They haven't been listening to themselves. They've been ignoring, no, that's not real, and no, that's not true, and no, that can't be true, instead of putting stuff in their face that is true, you know. My whole life is like TV's for idiots and all this stuff, you know, and TV's been kind of an integral part. Some shows have been an integral part of my life, because if I wouldn't have seen that on TV, you know, I wouldn't have had some of these experiences that I've had. And then they were verified later in life by people I've actually met that were like that. I'm like, oh my God. You know, I think most everything is based on actual events, you know. People just aren't so accepting of other people's actual events, you know. And right now there's so much different kind of experiences that are going on. And me, I've had a lot of life experience, and I just seem to come across a lot of people that haven't. So, and a few here and there that have along the way, but most people haven't had a lot of life experiences. So when you know, it makes it hard to share around the campfire, you know, holidays and stuff like that. I mean, because people don't want to hear about how I spent mine on Christmases from the time I was, I don't know, 4, 5, moved, until 6, until I was 12, 13. So I didn't want to go anymore. It's not fun, you know, on a Greyhound bus, 11 hours, you know. So, I never believed in things that other people believed in as much, but the other things that, you know, I believed in the things more that people, you know, like love and faith and in nature, and family and community, you know, and we're going back to a communal way of living, you know. People are getting, because things aren't getting fixed. I mean, Hurricane Michael, I got a buddy and those people there that live there, and it's just as freaking, it ain't get, stuff ain't, don't get rebuilt, you know, paradise stuff isn't, there's still a lot of, you know, funds held up, but the thing of it is the communities there are pulling together, and people are being, you know, they're pulling their resources because they have to, because they want their neighbors to survive too, you know. And when people have been living in such an era of withholding for so long, just withholding, I'm mad, so I'm not gonna love you. Just move on to the next person. Maybe they'll figure it out in an incarnation, you know, in the next incarnation. Everybody, you know, it talks about how tired they are. To quit wasting your energy on nonsense that doesn't matter, you know. Focusing on the stuff that does, you know. Winter's coming, and there's too many cold people out there. Too many cold people, you know. There's too many lonely people. And when I say cold, I mean lonely, too. You know, because I don't know, you can't be one without the other. I don't see how, but, so, I can feel I mean, a lot of people are, it's kind of interesting, because when I'm up early like this, and have so much energy, and then, like, a musician puts, that I follow, because I love music, and just like I like TV, you know, and it's about what you attract, and and when I got up and freaking 21 Pilots put out their Berlin version of Don't Believe the Hype, you know, it was cool, because I got to, you know, because I did a video about Don't Believe the Hype too, and that's kind of what it's coming into, is that's like the air, is like the theme right now, is don't believe it, man, unless it is in your face. I mean, they tell me there's billions of people on the planet. I'm like, well, I'm never gonna be any place where I can see a billion people at once, so that ain't my reality, you know. My reality, most days, me and Mom are the only people on the planet. Now, do I know that Mom and I are, you know, there's more people on the planet? Oh, absolutely, of course I do. But when you don't see other people, your world is very small, you know. And people forget that we're all connected, you know. Towns and cities and in states, you know, there's not as much going on as the hype says there is. So, you know, get out and get to know some folks and have some conversations, and go back to the old ways of, you know, being a human being. Yeah. Having a human experience as a spirit. Yeah. So, it's changing. I feel good about it. Hope you have a rad morning. Peace.